The WWE crew was still in Australia, so yesterday's show aired at 8 a.m. Eastern for fans in North America. Saturday's premium live event saw Stephanie Vaquer and Seth Rollins win the Crown Jewel Championships. Bronson Reed bested Roman Reigns. Io Sky and Rhea Ripley got a win over the Kabuki Warriors. And John Cena defeated AJ Styles in their final showdown. Monday's show addressed the fallout from Crown Jewel and began building to Survivor Series on November 29. This is an unusually long stretch between major main roster PLEs, so management has plenty of time to plan the show and make sure every feud matters. Let's take a look at what happened on this week's episode of Raw, for this is Ridiculously Raw. Hey there, welcome everybody to another edition of Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and Streamy.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher and the Phenom Michael Bullock. You know how we do it. We got Monday Night Raw, we got NXT, and we will preview Thursday Night Football, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll get into that in a little bit, but let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right on in, guys. Monday Night Raw taped, well, it aired live on Netflix at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Yeah. But at least for some, it was a holiday, the Columbus Day holiday. But anyways, I mean, I know it wasn't for everybody, but alas, it was because they're still in Australia. The RAC Arena, Australia, Perth, Australia, coming off Friday Night SmackDown and the Crown Jewel pay-per-view on Saturday. We started it off, of course, with the obligatory pay-per-view recap video, of course. And then Seth Rollins makes his way to the ring with the rest of the Vision to celebrate their success at Crown Jewel. Seth Rollins said this night is about him, but he took a moment to acknowledge the greatness of the group he has assembled. He took time to put over each member of the group individually. The Australian crowd gave Bronson Reed a great reaction when Rollins got to him. The World Heavyweight Champion called him the new Tribal Chief to a mixed response. Rollins said he has done everything on his own, which got a BS chant from the fans. He claimed he didn't need anyone, but he has chosen to align with the men in the ring because he is a visionary. Depending on how you read into it, this segment might have planted some seeds for Bron Breakker to eventually feud with Seth Rollins over the World Heavyweight Championship. Decent promo, but it was surprising nobody interrupted it. That's not a bad thing. That's just an observation. And the crowd was chanting Seth is a wanker. The fans popped when he called them the same thing. Rollins also got a big pop for kissing Heyman on the head after the crowd chanted for him to do it. And the crowd being so vocal but not overtaking what was going on in the ring made this segment more fun. So, decent promo to start it off. Do you guys want to address it, or do you want to just move on? I mean, it's totally up to you guys, because this is one of those I'm not sure moments. So,
I mean, it was fine for what it was worth. It wasn't really anything that was anything to write home about. I mean, the segment itself was fine, and the thing is that, well, it was very telling how Rollins worded it, because we'll get into that later on, because something, well, down the pipeline, because with a lot of things going on. So yeah, so it was very interesting, and you could notice the reaction from Braun and from Bronson after he said that comment, but mainly Bron Breakker really had a very interesting facial expression that kind of, you could tell he's like, okay. So we didn't know what it meant until later on, but we'll get into it.
All right. Bola, did you want to give a quick thought?
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. I mean, it really wasn't that much to write home about, but yeah, Fletch pretty much said what he said, and basically, well, there's more to it than meets the eye. Yeah, we'll talk about it later on. So there's really nothing more to add on to it.
All right. We move on to our first match of the night, and it's a big one. The Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship on the line. The champion, Dirty Dominic Mysterio, defending against Penta. Winner of the match, 15 minutes, 35 seconds, and still the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. It is Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Dominic wins, but no rest for the weary, because next Monday night in Sacramento, he's got to defend that Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship one more time against Rusev. Oh, boy. MF, Dominic Mysterio, still the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. He defeats Penta in 15:35, but he's got to defend against Rusev next week in Sacramento. No rest for the weary here.
Yeah, no rest for the weary. And this was a solid matchup. This was about a 3.5 star bout. Obviously, Dominic, knowing the situation, getting the cheap win over Penta, and now he got to deal with Rusev in the next fight, and it's gonna be very telling to see how that plays out, because you notice in this first matchup there was no Judgment Day. Judgment Day did not help Dom at all. Dom was literally on his own to his own devices, and he cut some corners to get the match and to win the match, and channeling a la the Eddie Guerrero, and a lot of the fans actually bought it too. So that's a very telling sign, is Dom's actually going over as a heel, and his cheating tactics, and the fans in Australia did not give Dom nuclear heat or anything like that. As a matter of fact, they actually applauded him for doing it. So it is what it is. I mean, we saw it with our own eyes. So 3.5 stars. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, 3.5 stars for me. And yeah, I did see it too, where even with all the cheating, the fans were loving it, even though technically he is still a heel. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, and like you said, there is no rest for the weary for Dom, because next week, he's going to defend his title against Rusev next week, and yeah. It's going to be a tough stretch for Dom, because remember, not just defending it against Rusev, but also, excuse me, there are still those rumors going about that he may defend that Intercontinental title against John Cena at Survivor Series. So this is really going to test Dom to see if what he's made of as the Intercontinental Champion. So 3.5 stars. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah, 3.5 for me as well. This was a fun match with some standout spots. Seeing Dom stand on his own 2 feet without the Judgment Day was a nice change of pace. Penta is one of those performers who brings out the best in his opponents, and he made Dominic look great. Rusev is not bad on the mic, but having a manager might be beneficial to him. He is better as the silent badass who only speaks a few words when necessary. And the Tope Suicida DDT Dom hit was very nice. It wasn't perfect, but it was his first time using it in a match, and the crowd booed Penta when he went for the 3 Amigos, and then cheered Dom when he reversed it. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. They're teasing a face turn for Dominic. They really are. So we'll see where that leads down the road. 3.5 stars. So not much more to say there. Let's move on. Then we had a lot of backstage stuff, and then it led into our second match of the night. Rhea Ripley with Io Sky in her corner squaring off against Kairi Sane with Asuka in her corner. Rhea Ripley wins the match, 15 minutes, 55 seconds. I know MF and I had some things to say about this the other night. You know, especially MF when Rhea went over. But now that I think of it, I've had a couple days to think about this, and I know Bullock leads it off, but I'll give it to him in just a second. But yes, lost my train of thought for a moment, but I got it now. Kairi losing actually does kind of make sense in the context of the story here, because of the fact that, you know, she's basically being held hostage by Asuka here. I mean, Asuka is kind of, you know, mommy whipping. Kairi Sane's like, it's like being mommy whipped, you know? Kairi wants to go on her own, but Asuka just has that control over her, that I don't know what the correct wording is on this, but it's like Asuka's got Kairi like on a leash or something, you know? It's kind of like that.
And you saw backstage that Asuka actually slapped Kairi.
And with Kairi losing, and with that, Asuka is not very thrilled with Kairi. And if I was Kairi, I'd be damn near peeing myself, man, because we all know how scary Asuka is, especially when she's angry. Ooh.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, yeah, and I know you and Fletch were critical of this, and it's like, all right, this doesn't make any sense, because now where do you go with this? But after what we saw, I mean, especially with the post match, obviously this feud is going to continue. So, I'm gonna give this about maybe another 3.5 stars here. I mean, yes, Rhea wins the match, but Asuka and Kairi got the best. But again, I'm going to continue to say this. Where does Kairi stand in all this? Because it's like you saw her in tears and all that, but Asuka's like bullying her and controlling her, basically saying, "Oh, you better beat Rhea, or there's going to be some major consequences." So it's interesting to see if when is Kairi going to reach her breaking point where she's like, you know what, enough's enough. I'm done with you, Asuka. So we'll see where this goes. So it is yours, Florio.
Yeah. Another 3.5 star match. This was a good match, but it was hampered by the shenanigans at ringside. Rhea and Kairi have had some great encounters in the past, but this fell a little short of what we know they can do. The second half was much better than the first because both women brought a lot more physicality to their offense. And that's all there is to say on that. And like I said, MF and I, well, more so MF, were very critical when we did our recap show the other night on Sunday night. I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, Rhea and Io winning because of the fact that Rhea's from Australia, and the same thing can be said about last night too. But now, after what we saw in the post match, it kind of does actually make a little more sense now in the context of this story, because it's Kairi. I mean, the more Kairi loses, the angrier Asuka's gonna get. And like Bullock said, how long is it gonna be before Kairi reaches the breaking point eventually and tells Asuka, I'm done with you. I'm sick of your you know what. So it actually does make a little sense. So, but anyways, 3.5 for me. MF Rhea winning it in 15:55. And the more Kyrie loses, the angrier Asuka's going to get. And it's going to be at the point where the ice is going to break.
Yeah, and if you really think about it, up to this point, you're absolutely right. This was kind of that moment that you were referring to, and yeah, absolutely. Nothing else to say, nothing else to add, and you guys made a lot of valid points here. So 3 to 3.5 stars. And Anthony, back to you.
All right, Matt. We move on to our next match. And it was Big Bronson Reed squaring off again to Jimmy Uso. Big Bronson Reed wins the match, 7 minutes and 40 seconds. By default, this was the worst fight of the night. Pretty simple match. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't anything special either. And post-match, Braun Breaker, he speared Jimmy twice after the match. Jay ran out to make the save for his brother, but it looks like there's more dissension among the ranks when it comes to the Usos and the Bloodline story. So 2.5 stars. That's the best I can go. So MF, Bronson Reed defeats Jimmy Uso, 740. By default, the worst fight of the night, only because all the other matches we got last night were that much better.
Absolutely, total agreement. And the reason why he got so mad is because of the fact, and we'll allude to it, because of the fact that Jay basically stuck his neck out for his own brother. You know, his brother got hurt. He was getting beaten up. Jay went out just to try to save him, you know, from that surefire beatdown, and basically got hurt in the process. And he's like, I should not be sticking my neck out for you. I should be focused on this championship fight that this championship opportunity that I'm supposed to be getting here tonight. And yet I'm dealing with your mess again. So this is that thing that Roman is trying to install in Jey Uso. And that is that you shouldn't be worrying about other people's business. You got to worry about your own business. That's what made me the tribal chief. That's what made me who I am. I don't care about anybody else. I don't give a damn about anybody else. I handle my business when I need to do it. And that's the one thing that Jay is kind of, and that's the thing that Roman's kind of trying to instill in Jey Uso. Fair or not fair, and you can say whatever you want to say, but it got through because now here goes Jay, trying to save his brother because his brother got involved in a mess, and now he got hurt in the same process, knowing that there's a big fight and a big opportunity for a championship later on in the evening in that triple threat. And once again, he's got to help his brother because his brother got himself into a mess, So that's basically what it is. Jay is basically like, you got to do your own thing. You got to handle your own business. And Jimmy's getting a little pissed off about that. He's like, we're supposed to be, I never, if that's what you want, fine. You're on your own. I don't give a damn. But, damn, man, there's really nothing more to say. So, yeah, Michael Bullock, this was about a 2.5 to 2 3/4. Nothing else to say. It's yours, man.
Yeah, this was a 2.5 star match by default. The worst fight of the night. Even though there wasn't anything remotely bad about it, and basically, I mean, like you said, there's still some. There's problems because this is Jay's almost like he's trying to say, "Hey, I'm trying to stay out of this because I got a number one contendership for the World Heavyweight Championship at stake, and I'm cleaning up your mess here." Yeah, so there is some dissension here. We got to keep an eye on this. So 2.5 stars. It is yours, Florio.
And breaking news from the National League Championship Series, the Los Angeles Dodgers defeat the Milwaukee Brewers 5-1 behind a complete game by Yamamoto. And the Dodgers up 2-0 in the National League Championship Series, as the series will shift now to Los Angeles. Game 3 on Thursday night. And it's exactly the same as in the American League. Seattle Mariners up 2-0 on the Toronto Blue Jays. So we're possibly halfway home to a possible Mariners-Dodgers World Series. So
the Dodgers, it's not surprising.
No.
The Seattle one, that's surprising because coming off of a grueling, especially what we saw in Game 5 of the division series against the Tigers,
unbelievable.
We were like saying to ourselves, what can the Mariners have left after that? I mean, the Blue Jays are probably licking their chops.
And especially going to Toronto.
But looks like
I'll say this, man. I think Seattle right now, if I'm the Mariners, I'm looking for the sweep. Because if you can get the sweep, you get at least a whole week, maybe more, before we get into the World Series. So you would get a lot of time off, and that might be the best thing Seattle can get right now. Get a lot of rest and at least get your pitching rotation in order. Get your ducks in a row for the World Series if they're able to hammer this down. Right now they're looking good. And if I'm Seattle, I'm looking for the sweep right now. You got Toronto right where you got Toronto right where you want them. You got them in big trouble right now.
Yeah, that's the thing, because you took both games in Toronto. Now you're going home for 3 games. They're looking like they're in good shape here.
Yeah.
History. I mean, we're on the verge of history here because the Seattle Mariners have never been to the World Series.
Yep.
They're 2 away. They are 2 wins away from doing something they've never done in their franchise history. But anyways, we'll address that for another time. But right now, let's get into our next matchup. Bayley and Lyra Valkyria squaring off against Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. Bayley and Lyra winning the match 11 minutes and 10 seconds. And MF, the turning point, Lyra slapping Bayley in the face. Bayley went, and we saw the 3 faces of Bayley again. She slapped her in the face. She went from the huggable Bayley to the demon-possessed Bayley. And Bayley and Lyra winning the match. Bayley with the rose plant for the win. They win it in 11-10. MF, Lyra, and Bayley look like they're on the same page again.
I don't know. I mean, that was kind of a very interesting end to the match, but it was still a fine match. But yeah, when Bayley, when that slap happened, I'm like, oh no. I knew what was about to happen. And the minute the laugh came out, I'm like, oh, I already knew that it was game over for that it was curtains for Roxanne and for Raquel, because when they get to that type of attitude, oh no, you're done. You're goners. You are dead. And sure enough, they were. So yeah, this was a solid matchup. Another 3-star bout. Nothing really more to say on that one. Michael Bullock, that slap kind of ignited, and once Bayley gets on a roll, forget it. She's not. The victory's in reach.
Oh yeah, they and Raquel and Roxanne found out the hard way what happens when something like that happens, and yeah, we got that Bayley. I'm sure they probably wish they could have kept down. So we'll see what happens with this. So yeah, it's a 3-star bout. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah, 3 1/4. solid match, but it's hard to tell what WWE wants to do with Bayley's character. It doesn't feel like any of this was planned with long-term goals in mind. And the way Raquel hit the ring post looked way too planned, but it is what it is. So keep an eye on this developing story, 3 to 3.25 for that. And all right, next week. Then there was a quick segment, Jackie Redmond interviewing the Women's Crown Jewel champion and the current Women's World Champion, Stephanie Vaquer. And Stephanie interrupted by Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. And that's part of the house cleaning I'm about to do here, the agenda setting. Next Monday night, Raw will be back in the United States. It'll be back at the traditional start time of 8 p.m. Eastern. It'll eliminate from the Golden One Center in Sacramento, California, the home of the NBA Sacramento Kings. And we can basically call this Championship Monday, guys, because we're going to have not one, not two, but three, count them, 3 championship matches all on the same night. And 1 non-title match. Stephanie Vaquer is going to go one-on-one with Roxanne Perez. That's a non-title match. And from there, we already know about Dominic Mysterio. He will defend the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship against Rusev. How about this? Becky Lynch will defend the Women's Intercontinental Championship against Maxine Dupri. The biggest match of Maxine Dupri's career. And they gave her a championship committee moment despite the fact that she won that match via countout a couple weeks ago. And from there, Finn Balor and JD McDonough will defend the World Tag Team Championship against the phenomenal AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. All of that next Monday night. Golden One Center, Sacramento. Man, oh man, is that going to be something? And then from there, the main event. Triple threat match to determine the number 1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. And we basically get a 2-for-1 deal here. I'll get into that in just a moment. Main event, Jey Uso versus LA Knight versus CM Punk. And the winner of the match in 13 minutes and 30 seconds and the number 1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, CM Punk. GTS on Jey Uso. Punk celebrating, and then he gets interrupted by Seth Rollins and the Vision. They take out CM Punk. And then from there, whoops, give me 1 second here. Okay. As Punk was celebrating, Rollins' music hit, and he came out with the Vision. Braun Breaker took out Jey Uso and LA Knight with spears as Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins helped surround the ring. After they took out CM Punk, Braun Breaker shocks everyone by taking out Seth Rollins with a spear. Paul Heyman looked shocked, but he was even more surprised when Bronson Reed joined Braun Breaker and hit a tsunami to the World Heavyweight Champion. And then Braun Breaker basically forced Paul Heyman's hand. He forced Heyman to join them, or suffer the consequences. And the show ends with Paul Heyman raising the hands of both Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, standing tall over Seth freaking Rollins. Whoa. Whoa. We got quite a bit to get into here, but not much time. So let's see. 13 and a half minutes. That was the time of the fall. Who leads off on this? Because, so much going on here, so much to keep track of. My God. I know it's not me. I think it's it's one of you guys.
It's Bullock, because I led off on the last match. So it's
Okay.
Bullock.
All right, it's Bullock then. All right, Bullock. CM Punk winning the contender match in 13 and a half minutes. But that's not even the big talking point. Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman turning their back on Seth freaking Rollins.
Yeah, and in the immoral words of Vince Lombardi, what the hell is going on over here? Well, first off on the match, what was the time again, Florio?
13:30.
Yeah, this is about a 3.25, teetering on 3.5 stars. Yeah, this was a fun main event here. I mean, CM Punk is now the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, but yeah, the Vision come out and take out the competitors, but that's not the story. The story here is just when it looked like the Vision was going to stand tall, and then all of a sudden, Braun Breaker spears Seth Rollins, and we were like, what? And then Bronson Reed hits a tsunami. So it's like, and then they basically force Heyman's hand. It's either you join us or suffer the consequences. And yeah. Now, here's the thing. I did read some dirt sheets, guys. And I don't know if you saw a picture. There was a fan who had a picture with Seth Rollins, and he was wearing a sling. And he was, and there were reports that he may have like an injured rotator cuff, and I think the injury may have come from that that move that he did on Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they've already pulled him from some of the shows in I think it's Japan, where they're going to be this weekend. What does that tell you?
Yeah,
this injury,
because
unlike the last one, is not a work.
It's not a work.
This one is even bad enough. It's so bad enough that there was a dirt sheet I read, and I personally read, that Seth Rollins might be forced to relinquish the World Heavyweight title.
That's
Now,
what I've
again,
been hearing too.
Rumor, nothing etched in stone, but that is what we heard just recently, is that, yeah, that it's serious enough that
He may have to
Seth might be forced, that he might have to give up the belt. And if that happens, oh my God. Because supposedly this was supposed to be after WrestleMania, the turn. So think about that.
Exactly.
They had to pull the trigger now. They had to pull the trigger now because this was supposed to be an after WrestleMania.
Yeah, but as soon as this injury occurred, WWE had to literally pull the script from that. It's like, we have to do this now. This can't wait till after WrestleMania. We have to do this now. And they did. And remember, there was also reports of maybe doing CM Punk and Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at Saturday night's main event. Well, obviously, it looks like that's going to be off the table. The question now is, if he relinquishes the title, what happens with CM Punk? Because he's the #1 contender.
I believe we have a Stephanie Vauquer situation. I truly believe it's going to be a Stephanie Vauquer situation where they're going to have to wait, and Punk, what they might have to do is have Punk fight. If Punk will get a shot at the title, but they're going to have to figure out a way to determine who gets to fight with CM Punk for the vacated World Heavyweight title, because that's the only thing I can think of as of right now.
Well, right now, Seth is still the champion, so we're going to have to keep an eye on this.
Yeah.
We're really going to have to keep an eye on to see what the severity of this injury is. And if it is that serious enough, he may have to relinquish it. So, as of right now, Seth's still the champion. But for how much longer? We're going to have to wait and see. So 3.25 stars for the main event. It's yours, Florio.
Yes, indeed. I'll tell you what. I mean, 3.25, 3.5. I do believe that is the correct rating for this matchup here, and no surprise with the outcome. I mean, you had a feeling it was going to be CM Punk, especially with the rumors going around about the recent dirt sheets that were coming out about him and Seth Rollins possibly at Saturday night's main event on the 1st of November in Salt Lake City, Utah. Obviously, with this injury now, I don't know what this means. I mean, we're going to have to definitely keep an eye on this as well. But a very good main event here. The three most over guys on Monday Night Raw battling it out for the right to challenge for the richest prize in the heavyweight championship of the world. CM Punk gets his opportunity. But the question now is, with the Rollins injury, what does this mean? What does this mean going forward? So we are definitely going to have to keep an eye on this, especially this upcoming Monday night in Sacramento. So 3.5 stars. And as far as overall thoughts go, Monday's Raw was a standard PLE Fallout episode, which is not a bad thing. It accomplished everything it needed to do and gave us a couple of fun matches along the way. Seth Rollins has cemented himself as the top dog on Raw and seems to have everything he could ever want, which means his eventual downfall is going to be even bigger. Rhea Ripley and Kairi Sane had an entertaining fight, and the main event was enjoyable, but I thought the best thing on the show was Penta and Dominic for the Intercontinental Championship. That match demonstrated just how far Dirty Dom has come since joining WWE. He has grown into a great performer who has the crowd behind him despite being a heel. Survivor Series is over a month away on November 29th, so WWE is wise to take its time setting everything up to avoid spinning its wheels waiting for the event. Ending the show with Braun Breaker turning on Seth Rollins was a great decision, as it will be the most talked about moment. We all knew it would happen eventually, but this was still shocking, and it's always good when pro wrestling can surprise us. Solid 8 out of 10 from me, so not much more to say. MF, your overall thoughts?
8 out of 10, absolutely agree with the rating and everything that you talked about, Anthony. I thought this was a solid show, well done, and really nothing more to add. So, Michael Bullock, it is yours.
I'm going to give this about 8 out of 10 as well. I mean, I agree with everything you guys have said. So let's quickly get into this tonight's NXT.
Yeah, and as far as this NXT goes, you know, you're coming off of that incredible show last week with the NXT TNA showdown. I mean, usually when they have big shows, you usually know what's coming. I hate to say it, a back to reality show.
Mm-hmm.
And tonight, well, it was somewhat of a back to reality show. Last week's NXT versus TNA showdown didn't change much for either brand, but Trick Williams is no longer the TNA World Heavyweight Champion after losing the title to Mike Santana this past Sunday night at Bound for Glory. Tonight's show was designed to move forward from the TNA invasion, but the partnership between the two brands will continue. For now, NXT is preparing for Halloween Havoc on Saturday, October 25th. So with that being said, let's dive on in. NXT champion Ricky Saints made his way to the ring. He said he is tired of having to wait for a challenger and called out Trick Williams for a title match at Halloween Havoc. Trick appeared on the big screen and said it's not his fault Ricky couldn't get the job done last week, which is ironic seeing as Trick Williams just lost the TNA championship 2 nights ago. Pretty quick segment that was over in a few minutes. It was fine for what it was and set up a title bout, but it would have made more sense for Trick Williams to earn a title shot in some way. So we're just gonna bypass that. Coming up, as far as our first match is concerned, for the first time since the March 9th, 2020 episode of Monday Night Raw, when he was known as Zack Ryder, squaring off against then WWE champion Bobby Lashley. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. Brock Lesnar was the champion at that time. I was thinking of 2021 for a moment. But anywho, March 9th, 2020, Monday Night Raw. The last time Zack Ryder wrestled in any sort of WWE ring. And he wrestled Bobby Lashley on that night. For the first time in over 5 years, Matt Cardona stepped into a WWE ring to square off against Josh Briggs. And the winner of the match, and I do believe the time of the fall on this one was 7 minutes and 53 seconds. The winner of the match was Josh Briggs. Josh Briggs wins the match. 2.5, 2 3/4 of a star. I gotta tell you, Josh Briggs moves well for a big man, and Matt Cardona is a versatile performer. So they made everything they did look good. This match followed a pretty standard formula, but the second half really picked up. And WWE missed a golden opportunity to have the old Zack Ryder theme play before using his current theme song. And Josh Briggs feels like he just needs one thing to be taken seriously. Maybe a new look or better entrance music. He just needs something to freshen him up a bit. And the way that Briggs took the back body drop over the top rope was perfect. It's one of those spots that looks simple, but is easy to mess up. 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. You could consider this one of the biggest wins of Josh Briggs' career. Because Zack Ryder, as we all know, or Matt Cardona, when he was Zack Ryder, he was a Triple Crown champion, Intercontinental champion, U.S. champion, tag champion, along with all the other accolades throughout his professional wrestling career outside of WWE. So, and in TNA as well. So, you could consider this one of, if not the biggest win of Josh Briggs' career so far. So, not much more to say. MF, Josh Briggs defeating Matt Cardona, 7:53.
Yeah, solid matchup, no doubt about it. I would say about, like you said, about the 2.5 to 3. I thought they did a really good job with it. I don't really want to go too much more into it. I thought, like I said, it was a fine match and nothing more to add. So, Anthony, or does it go to Bullock?
It goes to Bullock.
2.5 stars for me on this one. I mean, yeah, definitely a big win for Josh Briggs over someone like Matt Cardona. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to add to it. So let's move on, Florio.
All right. We're going to have a little fun with this match. Well, post-match, really. The AAA Latin American champion, El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., squaring off against Lexis King. El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. wins the match 7:41. That's 7 minutes and 41 seconds. And then after the match was over, he called out Ethan Page. And at Halloween Havoc, Ethan Page will defend the NXT North American Championship against El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. And MF, forgive me if I butcher the pronunciation, but I'm going to do this the best I can. Spanish is not my second language, but I'm going to try.
That's
Dia
okay.
de
That's
los
okay.
Muertos. I got you. Dia de los Muertos. What does that mean?
That means it's the Day of the Dead, meaning the match itself is no disqualifications, no countouts. Weapons are not only allowed, they're guaranteed in this fight. And basically, only way to win is by pinfall or submission. That's basically the rules. And this is a staple of Triple A wrestling. You're about to see some nuttiness in that match.
There you go. So Wagner defeats Lexis King in 741. So MF, your thoughts on the match and the upcoming match we're going to get at Halloween Havoc?
Dude, this is gonna first off, solid matchup. I'd probably say about another 2.5 to 3. I thought they did a fine match. 741, not bad. About 2.5 to 3. But the Dia de la Muertes is gonna be, oh my god, man! If you never seen a match like this, boys, get ready. This was gonna be insane. Actually. One of those type of matches. I think we've seen that once in Lucha Underground. I think there was a Dia de la Muertes match in Lucha Underground, if I remember correctly. So if you have never seen a match like this is a staple in AAA. But more importantly, if you ever saw this in Lucha Underground, holy freaking crap, it's about to get crazy. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
About another 2.5 stars. But yeah, this matchup with that we're gonna get at Halloween Havoc. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see what happens with this. So, there's really nothing more for me to add on to it. It's yours, Florio.
Going into this recap show tonight, when I heard about this match, when I heard Wagner talk about the Dia de los Muertos, I'm like. And then when I heard what it was, I'm like, I gotta get MF's thoughts on this. I'm like, MF, I know this is something MF knows very well, and I'm not at all surprised that he would help us out on that one. Day of the Dead match. Oh my goodness, that is going to be something else. And I'll look into the Lucha Underground archives and see if we did have such a match in that promotion, but that's what we're gonna get. Halloween Havoc, October 25. Ethan Page, El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., NXT North American Championship in this Day of the Dead match. Oh my goodness! Oh. I think out of all the matches on the Halloween Havoc card, I think this is the one that well, not only is MF going to have a most vested interest in, but I'm definitely going to have an intrigued interest as well. I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out. So when I heard that stipulation, I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued. I can't wait to see what we're going to get. So, oh, that's going to be something. All right. And then from there, a lot of backstage stuff. And it led into our next match, which was Blake Monroe squaring off against Zarya. Blake Monroe wins the match in 6 minutes and 23 seconds. We had a miscommunication. Zarya told Sol Ruca. Zarya and Sol Ruca earlier in the show had a little bit of an argument. And Zarya told Sol to stay in the back. But near the end of the match, Sol comes out anyways. And she, it had allowed for Blake Monroe to pull out a hair clip and nail Zarya with it. And Blake Monroe steals the pinfall in 6 minutes and 23 seconds. So, Michael Bullock, Blake Monroe defeating Zarya in 6:23. Classic case of wrong place, wrong time for Sol Ruca.
Yeah, it was the classic case of wrong place and wrong time for Sol Ruca, and maybe it adds a little more to the dissension that's going on with these two. So we'll see what happens with this. So it's a 2.25 star match here. So it's yours, Florio.
More 2.5, really. I forgot to mention about the Wagner and King match on my end. The match was weird because it felt like it was about to pick up steam at several points. but never did. They were stuck in second gear, and then we found out about the Day of the Dead match, and then Fatal Influence had a video, and Michael Bullock, they finally made it official. Laney Reed, as you predicted, as you called, Laney Reed is now officially the newest member of Fatal Influence, joining JC Jane and Fallon Henley, and in replacing Jasmine Nix, who left WWE over a pay dispute. So, but anyways, getting to this, the way this match ended was predictable when it comes to Blake Monroe cheating, but the way she did it was strange, using such a small weapon that nobody would be able to identify without the announcers calling it out was a weird decision. Zarya should feel like a monster, but she has not felt like a threat to anyone in a long time. With all due respect, I think it's time for her and Soul's partnership to end so she can be the dominant badass we all know she is. So there isn't really, and it was cool to see Zarya entrance as a solo act for once. She is such an intimidating figure. So another 2.5 MF, Blake Monroe defeating Zarya 623. And yeah, I don't know what else there is to say except it's yours.
2.25 for me. I thought it was a fine match. I think it could have been better in certain areas. But, you know, like you said, the drama has really taken a life of its own. So, yeah, really nothing more to add. I thought it was a solid fight, but 2.25 stars for me. So, Anthony, back to you.
All right. And then we cut to General Manager Ava at her desk, and she announced, we all remember about a month ago or so, we had a tournament to determine the number one contender for the women's Speed Championship. Well, starting next week, we're going to run it back. Only this time, we're going to do it for the men. The current Speed Champion, as we all know, is El Grande Americano. And there's going to be a tournament. Representing NXT, it will be Axiom. Or should I say representing SmackDown, it'll be Axiom. Representing Evolve, Sean Legacy. Representing TNA and the Rascals, Zachary Wentz. And representing NXT, the men's winner of LFG Season 1, Jasper Troy. I'll get to that when we set up the content for next week. Triple threat match to determine the number one contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championship. Hank and Tank versus Chase U, Uriah Connors and Kale Dixon, and the Cullings, Sean Spears and Nico Vance. The fight gets thrown out in 3 minutes and 32 seconds due to the returning OTM out the mud, Lucian Price and Bronco Nima. They are back from injury, and the tag team division just went kerplooey here, guys. I mean, oh. And from there, we're going to and it was also announced that at Halloween Havoc, the Hardys will defend the NXT Tag Team Championship in a return match against Dark State. So we shall see what happens. So and then there was a backstage moment with Sol Ruca and Zarya. And Sol Ruca felt so bad about what happened to Zarya that she said, you know what? I already have 2 championships. I'm going to sit out the Battle Royal, and I want you to take my place. So Sol Ruca gave up her spot in the Battle Royal for Zarya. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so let's run it down for next week. Oh boy, we got some good stuff on the pipeline for next Tuesday night, guys. Just bear with me for a moment as I I just had it on here for just a moment. For next week's show. Okay. Next week on NXT, a speed tournament match. It'll be Axiom from SmackDown versus Sean Legacy. We're also going to see Jasper Troy, or should I say Sean Legacy from Evolve, Axiom from SmackDown, and then Jasper Troy from NXT versus TNA Zachary Wentz. And the winner of that tournament will challenge El Grande Americano for the WWE's Men's Speed Championship. OTM will go will square off against Hank and Tank. And for the TNA X Division Championship, the champion Leon Slater will defend against Channing Stacks Lorenzo. And believe it or not, it was Ariana Grace, his real life fiance. They are romantically linked in real life. Yes. That was one of the many backstage moments earlier in the show where it was announced that Ariana Grace was able to goad her father, TNA Director of Authority Santino Marella, to give Stacks an opportunity at the X Division Championship. So that's going to happen. Slater and Stacks for the X title next week. OTM, Hank and Tank, Axiom, Sean Legacy, Speed Tournament. And the same can be said for Jasper Troy and Zachary Wentz. Main event. A 20-woman battle royale to determine the number one contender for Jacy Jayne and the NXT Women's Championship at Halloween Havoc. I mean, you had the likes of Jordynne Grace and Victoria Crawford, The Inspiration, Carmen Petrovic, Ariana Grace, Callie Armstrong, the Women's Evolve Champion, Lei Ying Lee, Zaya Brookside, Ren Sinclair, Kendall Gray, Zarya, Mara Sade, Izzy Dame, Thea Hale, Heather by Elegance, and Lola Vice, Kalani Jordan, the Knockouts champion. And when all was said and done, the winner of the Battle Royale in an even 12 minutes and the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship, representing the culling, Tatum Paxley. Yes, Tatum Paxley wins the Battle Royal. She will challenge Jacy Jayne for the Women's Championship at Halloween Havoc. Yo, wow. Always a tricky match. These are always tricky matches to rate, as we know. But I tell you what, eliminations happened at random intervals, so the ring started clearing out after a few minutes. There didn't seem to be one person dominating the action, which made the ending a little less predictable. By the time we went to the break, field had been cut in half. Most teams were split thanks to one partner being eliminated, so nobody had an advantage over anyone else. This match had isolated moments that were entertaining, but for the most part, it was too chaotic for anyone to stand out from the pack until it got down to only a few participants. Battle Royals always have an element of fun to them, so this was enjoyable, even if it did not steal the show. The final four were Kendall Gray, Jordynne Grace, Izzy Dame, and Tatum Paxley. Izzy Dame took out Kendall Gray, and then she took out herself and Jordan at the same time to give Tatum Paxley the win. It's always weird when a former WWE star who is now with TNA under a different name shows up. They acknowledge Victoria Crawford's history with WWE, but never referred to her as Alicia Fox. We got a mini metaphor reunion with Lash Legend and Mara Sade in this match. Carmen Petrovic was in this match. It feels like it has been months since her name has even been mentioned on NXT, which is a damn shame because she can work, let me tell you. I'm not ashamed to admit this. I am a member of the Xing Xing squad. I will tell you that right now. She does need, I would like to see her get more airtime in the future. Looking at you, Sean. Looking at you, HBK. Grace and Crawford had a funny moment on the apron before they were eliminated by Jordynne Grace. Zarya eliminated herself to go help Sol Ruka after she was attacked by Blake Monroe, but she could have just stepped between the ropes and then back out, so it didn't count as an elimination. This was an unforced elimination that was solely her fault. And the way Kalani Jordan tried to eliminate Jordynne Grace was stupid, because it would have eliminated herself too. Her handstand a la Kofi Kingston in the Royal Rumble was impressive, but it didn't save her. Always great when we get a surprise outcome. And congratulations, Tatum Paxley. Biggest win of her career to date. Could it lead to an even bigger win at Halloween Havoc? We shall see. 3 to 3.25 stars. Teetering on 3.5. But it's definitely within that threshold. So not much more to say. MF, Tatum Paxley wins the Battle Royal in approximately an even 12 minutes.
3.25 stars, no doubt about it. Definitely worthy of what you're talking about. One other person that you forgot to mention showed up, Anthony, but this was well after the match. No, not Miss Parker. Well after the match, well after everything was all said and done, after Tatum won it all, Lyra Valkyria showed up and jumped in the ring to celebrate with her. She got tackled in the midst of the celebration. But did you see the look on the face of Izzy Dane? She was not having it. She was not happy. And the thing is,
they say a woman is beautiful
when
she's angry, but Izzy Dane was a damn near knockout.
And the funny thing is that could that be the moment? Because Izzy was happy for Tatum until Lyra showed up. And you know Lyra's been a little bit of a very interesting character lately. Is she there just to be a friend? Or is she there to try to get her out of the calling? I guess we'll wait and find out, because this just got very interesting. Halloween Havoc just got very interesting now, because now it will be Tatum Paxley versus going for the NXT Women's title. So
Jacy Jayne.
It just got very against Jacy Jayne. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours. 3.25 stars.
Unpredictability, Bullock. That's what we always preach about.
Yeah, and this was definitely unpredictable. I mean, I don't think anybody had Tatum Paxley winning this. But yeah, definitely a big win for her. And yeah, Lyra came in to celebrate, and Izzy Dane was not happy about that. And we'll see what plays out from this. But yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. It's yours, Florio. What did you give it?
3.25.
Yeah, 3.25 for me as well. So I think it's overall thoughts time.
And MF starts it off. MF, I hate to say it, solid show, not overly spectacular, but in all honesty, it was what I thought it would be. Somewhat of a back to reality show after that epic show last week.
Yeah, it's a 6. It's a 6 out of 10. I think, like you said, it wasn't perfect. It was a back to reality. There was some good moments. I'm not gonna say it was a horrible show, but yeah, 6 out of 10 for me. That's where I'm going with it. So Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, it was solid, but not overly spectacular. I mean, it was somewhat of a back to reality, but I'm not gonna say it was too much of a back to reality, because it's not like the show was bad. I mean, we had some good moments, but again, overall, solid but not overly spectacular. 6 out of 10. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah, there is no sugarcoating it. This was one of the weaker episodes of NXT in quite some time for several reasons. The opening match between Josh Briggs and Matt Cardona was the best thing on the show, and it wasn't even a standout performance for either man, so that tells you a lot. The Battle Royal that ended the show had some fun moments, but everything that came between those two bouts was mediocre at best. The tag match not having a winner was disappointing. Wagner versus King didn't live up to its potential, and the same can be said about Blake Monroe and Zarya. WWE did some legwork to build up Halloween Havoc on the 25th, but most of what we got on the show felt rushed or unimportant. 6 out of 10, maybe 6.5. So definitely a back to reality show after that incredible NXT TNA showdown a week ago. So, all right. So we have one last order of business here tonight. We got a Thursday night football game to preview, boys, and a good one, too. So good that this is actually going to be on our side of the ledger. This is our number 2 game of the week, believe it or not, because this one does have potential. AFC North divisional matchup, and it will feature the Pittsburgh Steelers squaring off against the Cincinnati Bengals. Paycor Stadium, formerly Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. Thursday Night Football, Amazon Prime Video. You know who's working in it as always. Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, Kaylee Hartung. Pittsburgh opening up as a 5.5-point favorite. Pittsburgh leads the regular season series 69-40. Last year, both teams split, but both teams won on the road. So Pittsburgh won in Cincinnati last year, a wild game, 44-38. Steelers have won the last 3 years in Cincinnati. Cincinnati hasn't beaten Pittsburgh at home since 2021, and they smashed them 41-10 in that one. So, all right, here we go. Let's get into it. The Steelers have won the last 3 meetings at Cincinnati by 6 points or less. Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco will work on a short week. Where does Aaron Rodgers make a difference? Pittsburgh has the best turnover margin in the NFL at +7. That is key on the road against an NFC North rival. And then from there, the Steelers' pass rush is on fire with 6 sacks each against the Vikings and Browns the last 2 weeks, and will be looking to lick their chops against 3-team, longtime division rival quarterback Joe Flacco. Cincinnati stays in another game at home to push Pittsburgh, but the visitors will make the key defensive play late. I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game. I'm going to say final score, I'm going to go 24-20. Pittsburgh defeats Cincinnati on Thursday night. So not much more to say. MF, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, number 2 game of the week on our end. How about it?
Yeah, this is gonna be a good game, no doubt about it. Solid matchup, but I'm with you guys. I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game as well. Going in, I thought Cincinnati was gonna be a little more Cincinnati's gotten a little better, but Pittsburgh's just they're just a juggernaut right now. I really love what they're bringing to the table. Give me the Steelers to win it. Bullock, you have the final say here tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. I think they should handle their business with Cincinnati. So nothing more to say. Let's call it a night, Florio.
And we will indeed do just that. So that will indeed put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We'll be back with you again on Thursday night. Right back here on the Tone 25 at 10:30 for the Week 8 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. And guess what, boys? We got ourselves another Smorgasbord Saturday. Oh, yes. So many great matchups. Just to name a few, Ole Miss against Georgia, USC against Notre Dame, Tennessee and Alabama, Utah and BYU. And that's just to name a few. We got some goodies coming up on Saturday, including 2 Friday games. So we'll get into all of that on Thursday. And then Friday, we have that's the Week 8 edition of that. And then Friday is the Week 7 edition of NFL Friday. We'll recap Steelers Bengals, and we'll preview the remaining games of week number 7. And we got some good matchups. I mean, Our game of the week, the Indianapolis Colts against the Los Angeles Chargers. The NFC game of the week, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Detroit Lions. Some other good matchups as well, including the final game in the International Series from the Cathedral of Soccer, Wembley Stadium in London, England. The Los Angeles Rams and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that's just to name a few of the NFL games we're going to get into on Friday. And then Saturday, Cerebral Smack Talk, MF will have it, Braves Fan 95. And on that show, of course, as we all know, it'll be TNA Impact and Friday Night SmackDown. So that's it. So and then of course 1 week from tonight, we do it all over again with Ridiculously Raw, Monday Night Raw, and NXT's Go Home show before Halloween Havoc. So that's it. So until Thursday night for the Week 8 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday, this is Anthony Florio here for Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and of course always and forever in spirit, the First Lady of Talking Wrestling TXN, the one and only Twisted Angel Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it a Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days, and until Thursday night for College Football Thursday, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.